Hey, from that buy.
We're here. Let me get the slate off. There we go. Now we're here.
Great. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Leighton's Loft, our weekly podcast on the hobby, on the national. Oh, it's echo.
You get an echo?
So it's running at different times.
Oh, that was echo.
Okay. Great. Sorry about that, Lou. A little echo situation. I think we've taken care of it.
Is it still okay?
We're good.
Okay, good.
We are good. So the Celts have a new coach. Yankees lost again last night. And the National, I can tell you firsthand, every passing day, something else is going on.
Uh-oh.
Meaning, it's all good stuff.
Oh, excellent.
Whether it be it's ads, to sign up for, or you're being propositioned to advertise. Or someone's begging you, can I put out a few cards at your table? Yes. But then when you have someone, 37 different people beg you, you do the math, like I can't accommodate all because all the booths are sold out at the show.
Yep.
This is really, hey, Charles, can't wait. This is really cool. Kudos to the team for selecting a vendor. These are little graded card stands, Vintage Breaks logo. So, Lou, it'll go something like this.
Oh, that is excellent.
Right? So we just ordered 100 of them, I believe. They're not cheap, but they're well made. And even cooler, 3D model. So like if you're a Big Bang Theory fan,
yep.
I remember that Sheldon had access to a 3D model or 3D printer, and like they had to get rid of it because they couldn't afford it.
Yep.
It was a really good episode. My wife thinks I'm nuts because she's, I guess, watched all the Big Bang Theories. And I got derailed, life, work, etc. So I won't watch any of the new shows until I kind of figure out what's up. And she's like, well, you may never watch it. And I said, well, if I don't watch them, it's fine. But the early ones were great.
Well, it's not a big, deep plot, so you can kind of dive in at the later episodes if you want.
I know. I like to try to do things methodically, though, if possible.
It's not the X-Files. It's not like there's
That's true.
Overriding, arching plot there.
That's true. Hey, what's up, Andy?
Big Bang Theory. I like Kaylee, so I was watching.
Yeah, no, it's a great show. So we're excited, Lou. We're going to be giving out a handful of these at the convention.
Very nice. I love those.
Yeah, they came out really good. They sent us a sample and such. So we have lots to cover today. Some special guests in the building.
Ken asks if they're going to be for sale or for giveaway.
It's funny. I generally don't get those kinds of things to sell. We generally get them to give away. That being said, if they're well received, Lou, we may get them to sell in the future.
Yep.
So what's up, Orlando? What's shaking, Tom?
Yeah. Hi to everybody who said hi. Tyler and Steven and Orlando and Chris Coe is here. Tom, Andy.
So we got an action-packed show today. We got Chris Gilmore is in the house for the week. And he'll be stopping by, chatting with us for a few minutes on the show. He's helping us get ready for the National as well as take care of some IT stuff at the 459 here. How
far away from you is he sitting right now?
Oh, I'd say approximately 2 feet.
Yeah.
And Ken has recently joined our staff. For now, we'll call him the Pokemon Professor because that's what he is.
Okay.
But Ken is in charge of social media and marketing for Vintage Breaks, and so he's here also live in the house today, which is kind of cool. It's his first Leighton's Loft. So in breaking news, and no, we're not talking about the Suns game, but I literally just pulled off a deal with Chris Coe before game time, right, before our show. And, Chris Gilmore was asking me, like, what's going on, man? You seem a little like, I'm like, I know I'm trying to pull off this trade, but it's tough. I'm like, he's like, who are you talking to? I'm like, Chris Coe. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, just buy the cards. I'm like, no, we're trying to trade. It's a whole thing. So it's going to be.
That's a battle of the Titans. You and Chris Coe.
Oh, it was great though. We reached a deal with a little pressure on us, which I liked. And so it all started with when Chris Coe and I were talking offline. Really just like, how do you get ready for the national? Like, what's a good way, if you will, to prepare, to cleanse? What do you bring? At first, Chris wasn't going to bring any cards. I'm like, Chris, bring some cards. I'm like, because you have to understand, some people, it's not the cash that they want. They may covet one of the cards you don't care about.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you have a deal. Great.
That's right. If you run into the right guy who wants that particular card you want, you get a little premium on it.
Absolutely. Or to be fair, just the ability to pull off a deal that you want to do, Lou, is nice.
Yep.
So Chris had a few, I wouldn't call them extra mantles, but he had a few mantles that he was willing to depart with.
Extra.
And actually a third one, which we're not going to get into today. It's mind-boggling. We'll talk about that in the near future. But he had a 56 and a 66 mantle, which I'm going to show off in just a minute. And he was looking at our eBay account to see if there was basically anything on his list for the national that basically, Lou, he could check off now and not have to worry about, which is kind of fun, right? Because at the end of the day, let's be honest, you're going to the show, you want to meet friends, you want to eat good food, you want to have a good time, but like you want to walk away with some bounty.
Sure.
You want to have something cool that you're excited to share with your friends, whether it be your collecting friends, your, the folks down the block, whatever the case may be. And so he hit me with a 56 and a 66 mantle. And I'm going to show them off in a minute. And what's great about working with Chris is you generally know they're going to be really good eye appeal. So let me know if you can see. Actually, that's not that great.
Give it a chance to adjust. It'll be okay, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No, if you can email that image to me, I'll put them up.
Oh, awesome. That's what I'll do, Lou. Message mail. Should have Uncle Lou in here. Great. It's the NBN Sports.
Yep.
Great.
Nothing but net sports. Yep.
Actual size. Great. So, Lou, we will come back to the mantles in a minute. And I will show off what Chris was interested in.
Oscar Robinson, yeah.
Rookie.
What's the grade on that?
2.5. But it looks really nice for a 2.5. It's got great color. And the reason why I didn't want to part with this in particular is because Oscar, from time to time, will have a signing. And I figured I'd go out and buy one. Now I don't have this anymore. So I think I have another one that's a little bit lower grade. But, I always like to have like an extra 61 Fleer Oscar in case I can get it signed.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Chris has the same feeling. And it was interesting. I was saying to Chris Gilmore that Chris Coe had asked me about this card and something else. And I said, well, I don't really want to trade the Oscar, but I'll trade the other card. So what happens when you do that, Lou? Of course they want the card you don't want to trade.
Right, exactly.
So he was interested in the Oscar, and what we had to do was figure out, if you will, a price point that he was comfortable with and I was comfortable with, if you will, in trade value. So we were a little off to start with, but then we reached an agreement on that. And then I looked at the way he valued his mantles, when I thought it was really fair. And once again, knowing Chris Coe and his eye, I thought that, hey, what's up, Mark? Hope all is well. What's up, Bo? I thought that it would be a good match in terms of getting, a couple nice, mantles with good eye appeal, whether it be just for inventory, for the national, whatever the case may be. And so there was a little bit of a difference. Were you able to get the email, Lou?
Yep, working on it. Give me a second here.
Oh, yeah, take your time. So there was a little bit of a difference, and what was kind of fun. Oh, there you go. Thanks, Lou. So if you notice the 66, the thing's dead nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful card. And so that might actually be a keeper for me when I get it in. And then the 56 mantle, it may not be perfectly centered, but still, from like the looks of it, it wouldn't look out of place in an X holder. And obviously, I don't have it in front of me. But I thought they both look really nice, strong for the grade.
A little too far there. Look at those. Beautiful.
Yeah, no, they're gorgeous looking examples. And so there was a little bit of a difference in regards to, the price. And so for now, we've agreed that the difference is going to be made up in break credit, which we agreed to.
Oh, excellent.
But I have a feeling, I know Chris Coe, I have a feeling he may text me later and say, you know what, Leighton, I don't need the break credit. I like this card that you have on your eBay account.
Yep.
So I'm excited. Chris is also shipping another mantle, which we're not going to discuss today, but the community will be very excited to learn about in the near future. And so that was my game time trade that we pulled off just before we went live. It's kind of cool.
Oh, nice. We should have done it on the air. Should have finished it up on the air.
You know, see, Lou, that's why I should talk to you every Wednesday morning,
yeah,
or at least, 24 hours before. Hey, what's up, Daniel? Hope all is well. Lou, we'll get something like that going for the national. But in general, the whole theme was this. Like, if you can take a couple cards out of your PC or your, if you will, group of cards and kind of get things moving. So in Chris's mind, he likes hanging out with Vintage Breaks. So he's got some break credit to stash now and spend, whether it be this evening or in the next couple of weeks, right?
Yep.
He didn't want the mammals in his collection. He explained to me why. At the end of the day, right? We can always
extra,
use,
right?
yeah, extra, if you will, but just moving in a different direction.
Yeah.
And wanted an Oscar, and so not of course the award, but the card. And it was just a good match. And of course for Chris, what was nice, he didn't have to lay out any cash.
Right.
And he's going to get a new card for his collection. He's going to get some break credit. And it may not be the last deal that we do together before the national. And so I'd encourage others also to check out what you have, see what's kind of extra for you. Hit me up personally, Leighton at Just Collect, or post it on the Vintage Breaks Buy Sell Trade group on Facebook. There's a lot of folks that are really, great to deal with, trade with, buy and sell with.
Do you have a feel of whether trading is coming back a little bit in the hobby?
It definitely is.
I guess we'll know after the show, right? Know even more.
It is, Lou, for a number of reasons, but the main reason is, in general, prices have got really steep.
Yeah.
And so not everyone is always liquid to buy the card that they want to buy, but they may have a card that has gone up also in their collection that they're willing to sell to fund that purchase of the card they're willing to buy. So if you find someone who's actually interested in that card that you were looking to get rid of, well, that's a perfect match. And that's why I was explaining to Chris Coe, bring a dozen cards to the national that are graded and slabbed, because even though you're not going there with the intent to sell them, it may bridge the gap on a deal that you're a little bit far apart on, and the person doesn't want your money. They want inventory.
It also bypasses the transaction fees, right? When you
listen,
going back.
I was very cognizant of, for whatever it's worth, Lou, not talking with Chris's deal, but when I made a deal with Bleecker Trading a few weeks back for our strip card of Babe Ruth from 1920, I had it tagged at 75 hunch, but that's if you sell it on eBay for that. So the reality of it was our trade value, I believe, was 65 hunch, thinking I lose about 10, 12% on that card. And there's no reason to charge them for it as long as it's coming back to me and it's fair.
Right.
So, once again, that's the second trade I've now worked out, and it's in many weeks, and it's kind of cool.
Brett says, PSA must be caught up. I sent 15 cards in on March 25th. Their economy was told December or January. They're graded and shipped on Monday.
That's great. I'm getting lots of notification from PSA about orders moving along in their system, looking to review them. And so it means that we're hopefully going to get some more cards back from PSA very soon. I did want to mention...
Chris says he's looking at your eBay account right now.
Excellent. Thanks again, Chris, for a great deal. So before we talk about this new collection that we just acquired, which we're really excited about, I wanted to mention two bonus promos that we have running right now, Lou. So our first one is a very cool $10 bonus promo for Vintage Breaks. If you spend $10 on any spots at all, from 4:30 to 7:30, you're going to have a chance to win one of three prizes: a $1,000 briefcase, a 1956 Topps baseball set break spot, and a $100 break credit. All three of those prizes will be given away at 7:30 p.m. today. You can buy in now until 7:30. If you spend $10, you get one entry. You spend $100, you get 10 entries, so on and so forth. And a really cool twist, Lou, because we've seen that folks, when they're watching Leighton's Loft, they are also engaged with the Vintage Breaks community, with our website. And so we're running a really special $100 bonus that's only available on Leighton's Loft from 4:30 to 5:30, and I figured it's already 4:49, so I should probably tell them. It's on the grid, and what's really cool is anyone who spends $100 on any spots at all from 4:30 to 5:30, You're guaranteed to get one 1960 Topps baseball set break spot for every $100 you spend. And on top of that, you're going to be entered, and one person who spends $100 from 4:30 to 5:30 is going to win a free spot in our newly listed. Check this out, Lou. I can't wait to discuss this and show it off. 1965 Topps baseball PSA 8 graded complete set. Every card is graded PSA 8 in the set except for one. The Steve Carlton rookie in a PSA 9. It's $5,000.
Okay.
So right now, this set break, this 1965 Topps set is available on vintagebreaks.com. It is $150 per spot. We haven't had anything as special as that, meaning set break wise, in a little bit of time since really the 56 PSA graded set. And so we're going to give folks who spend $100 on any spots at all from 4:30 to 5:30. Once again, you're guaranteed to get a free 1960 Topps set break spot with your $100 purchase. And you, of course, get 10 entries in the $10 bonus promo that's running 4:30 to 7:30. And the extra little feather in the cap, Lou, we're going to give away one free spot in the 65 Topps baseball PSA 8 set break that we just listed to one person from the 4:30 to 5:30 $100 bonus.
You could have one of those, that beautiful Mickey Mantle right there.
Oh, so I'm going to run through. This is just a couple of the highlights. Just because the screen is a little bit different today, Lou, I'm going to show them off like this.
Yep.
So that's, here we go. There's Carlton in a 9.
That's the 9, right?
Gorgeous card.
Who is that beside Carlton?
Fritz Ackley.
Okay.
Pete Rose PSA 8. That's third year PSA 8 Rose.
In a vest uniform. Very nice.
Gorgeous Clemente. 65 Mays. This is one of the best set breaks that Vintage Breaks has ever had the privilege to offer. So speaking of which, if you folks haven't figured it out yet, we are very big buyers of sets. So if you have any sets, hit me up, Lou, at vintagebreaks.com on our website, and you can email Sam at Vintage Breaks directly, or if you want to deal with me directly, be happy to, Lou. If you could drop my email in there, Leighton at justcollect.com. This is the kind of set that we are actively looking to buy. To be fair, I'll buy low-grade sets, medium-grade sets, high-grade sets, but I'm always buying vintage cards and certainly always buying sets. But right now, that has just been listed at vintagebreaks.com. It's $150 per spot, but if you want a chance to win one free spot, we're giving one away at 5:30 today at the end of the Loft. All you have to do is spend $100 on any spots at all. You'll be in the big $10 promo from 4:30 to 7:30 and the extra special promo from Leighton's Loft today.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Doug always puts them up in the comments, too, with the details, so we can put them up on screen and people can refer to them in the comments. That's great. We appreciate it.
Excellent.
Mike Doerr has a national question. He says, with it being so big, should I bother spending time buying commons, or should I focus on the rare and bigger priced items?
It's a great question, Mike. I'm going to take the time to address that. What I would say is if you have enough time, do it all, okay? But if you don't, you absolutely should be focusing on the rare and the bigger price items. And the reason being is because you don't know when you're going to see them again. A lot of folks literally will tuck away, myself included, items back into, whether it be you call it inventory or collection, and I will not make it available for sale again until a subsequent national, unless someone maybe contacts me direct, saw it there and what have you. But that's kind of the allure of the national. And so you'd be doing yourself a disservice as a collector, as a speculator, as an investor, walking around and trying to fill up sets where candidly you could do it on eBay or you could do it at any local convention. I would leave that till the end if you have enough time. And I would definitely focus on the rare and the more desirable items to start.
Do you more or less hold them back from until the national because there's more blood in the water at the national and just everyone's excitement level is up?
I think for a few reasons, Lou. One, when you put an item online and it doesn't sell, there's a stigma attached to it. Hey, it's not worth X. It's worth something less than that, and maybe it's not a great card because it hasn't sold. Two, because I do happen to have a number of expensive cards. Expensive cards generally sell better in person. And so I don't like to make a museum of my eBay account.
Right.
I don't think that there's anything to gain by having expensive cards sit there for 6 months or a year. And so if I plan to hold it for a while, it's not a problem for me to bring it, to an annual event. And to be fair, once again, folks, you can do an incredible amount of sales at the National. You can do an incredible amount of trades. And I'm not just saying with dealers. You're going to do that with fellow Breakomaniacs from the Vintage Breaks community. You're going to be doing that with folks that you may just meet on the floor of the National. There's a lot of action going on there.
So let me ask you about eBay listings, because you brought up something interesting, that a card can get a stigma if it stays on the market for a long time. Is there a cost to relisting the card? In other words, do people remember from listing to listing, or they're just looking at the date that card was put up?
Oh, sure. So in terms of listing the card on eBay, there's really not a lot of cost to it. It's more about when it sells, Lou. That's the real cost.
Yep.
But in general, I'm speaking firsthand that when a card is on eBay, if especially if you know what you're doing, just use $1,000 as a price point. Theoretically, if you're selling it in person, it should actually only be worth about $880 or $900, because you're not going to pay eBay in that particular case. And
plus,
then of course,
spend that money, they get the card in hand, they're a little bit more confident spending that kind of money.
Absolutely. And like I said, I think it goes to, people like instant gratification. And so even if you found a card on eBay that you love, you won't have it in, Lou, from anywhere from 1 to several days. Whereas if you make a deal with me on the floor of the National, after you're done, you can brag to your friends, your loved ones, hide it from your significant other, whatever the case may be. So Mike is asking, why waste a trip to the Nationals for base cards you can get anywhere? Plus, people tend to conduct business differently in person than online or phone. So I'm not really sure the kind of question you're asking, but I'll try to address it the best I can. So if you're going to the National,
I think he was replying to Mike. I think he was just kind of backing you up on.
Okay. Sorry, I was a little bit confused there for a minute.
Yep.
Yeah, the National is great. Aside from the business transactions, Gary V's me on the floor of the National. You can tap him on the shoulder and say, "Hey, Gary, can I do a selfie?" Like, you might see Michael Irvin on the floor of the National and say, "Hey, what's going on?" You don't know what's going to happen there. That's not happening at your local convention.
Yep.
So if you're going to be looking through dime boxes or looking to complete your 68 set, with commons, you're better off waiting, because when your head's down, you might miss a lot of the action.
Mike says, sorry, I was driving to
no problem.
Come on, we appreciate you participating and watching.
So J5, I wanted to show off the collection, and while we're waiting for J5 to come over here, we're going to mention the 7 prizes we'll give away today on Leighton's Loft, courtesy of Vintage Breaks, Just Collect, and Otia Sports. First place, Dougie, will get a $50 break credit. Second place is going to get a pretty cool Bob Feller signed photo, authenticated by PSA DNA. Third place will be a 66 Philly football spot. Fourth place will be a 60 Topps baseball spot. And the last 3 prizes will be a 1971 Topps baseball set break spot.
Tyler adds in, nothing's more agonizing and stressful than waiting for a big money card to get to you through the mail. And that's another factor I hadn't figured on either.
Oh, very much so. In regards to that. So before we show off this collection, well, I guess we'll show off this collection. So we got it ready to go here. And then we want to do something fun with one of the Jackie cards, right, Chris?
Oh, yeah.
Great. So J5, what was the deal with this collection? How'd they find us? What's the background?
Sure. So the collection belongs to a gentleman from Michigan.
Okay.
He has been the owner of this card since he was a kid.
Wow.
So he mowed lawns trying to get 5 cents to buy 5-cent packs. His parents helped him out as well.
Does he remember what he got paid for the lawn? That'd be cool.
He just him and his friends in the neighborhood, that's what they would do. They would mow lawns, get money, and buy packs with a gun. He was a Tigers fan. Okay. But he did recognize the big players. Okay. So he was between 8 to 12 years old when he was collecting.
Wow.
That's so cool. Well, you're going to see. So, the cards are like low to mid grade, but they're I mean, like, I'm looking.
If J5's around, see if you can get him to share your desktop screen here.
Oh, can you share my desktop screen so that we can show these cards off a little bit better?
Right.
Thanks, Lou.
And I'll help us out if he's around in hand.
Yeah, he's right there.
Is he doing stuff?
Okay.
Put the screen on top there.
So now, not yet, right?
Not yet, but in a minute.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll come back. Perfect. Okay. So these were his personal cards Here about the amount that you have, and along with those sleeves.
So not that many. Does he have more?
It's in the box.
No, I mean, does he have commas? So what did he do with like?
He said he used the commas and other stuff for bicycle spokes. They call it noisemakers. That's what he did. He put it in his bicycle spokes.
But he somehow saved these.
He knew the stars.
So that's pretty cool, Lou. We don't hear that often, where someone from that time period who was an 8 or 10 or 12-year-old kid was basically smart enough to say, hey, I know who Mickey Mantle is. I know who Sandy Koufax is. I'm not going to use those, but I'm going to use the common players. But I have heard that terminology before that, yes, people put them in the bike spokes, but they were basically noisemakers. That's what people called them. You know, it depends on where you were from. But
that's good because it saved him some therapy later.
Yeah, exactly, Lou.
He found us out on Google. He just Googled how to sell his baseball cards.
So as J5 is saying, Lou, I don't know if the gang can hear us. So, you know, Just Collect, our, you know, sister company, if you Google how do I sell my baseball cards, we appear fairly high in a Google organic search.
Yeah.
And so that's how this particular gentleman found us.
Yep.
Oh, excellent.
So his submission form. And of course, you sent it out to Mark, who helping us with leads. And he got pictures for us. And he was able to be in contact with the gentleman. And I gave him a call. And then from there, it's just, he was very easy to work with. Very professional, very friendly, nice. And he really appreciated us getting back to him quickly and also making a nice, fair offer.
Great. So before I forget, I just want to make sure, so that FedEx guy scanned the Ruth, right?
Just scanned it.
All right, because I wasn't watching. You know, I get a little crazy. So we're going to talk about Mark in a minute because he's got a big role in this here. Lou, things have got so crazy busy at Just Collect that instead of you know, one person handling leads, whether it be myself or it's J5,
right?
You know, we've staffed up, and we hired Mark full time to handle leads and basically lead flow for us. And so what that means is, you can imagine, it's kind of, you know, it doesn't matter what it is in life, right? You could be going to buy a new lawnmower, buy a new home. Nothing happens generally right away. And so people, you know, reach out to us through our free submission form, looking for a free appraisal at justcollect.com. And even before COVID, we were busy. COVID things went to a new level. And me, J5 and I knew like we were not going to be able to handle the amount of volume of the leads that were happening. And so we're basically thankful that Mark joined our team, because he takes a lot of the information, he streamlines it for us, even something as simple as taking the information in the photos and building spreadsheets for us so that we can analyze what the folks have, value it accordingly, and of course take it from there. So when you were working with Mark on this, did the gentleman send like a handful of images, an image of every card? Like, what happens?
He took pictures front and back, like we always do, of key cards.
Great.
And key cards, Mark has his own cheat sheet, but every year for every baseball set, we have specific players we look for. You know, Mantle, Clementes, Koufax, Mays, and stuff like that. And the gentleman just had to, happen to have all the cards that you were about to show.
That's really cool.
And we gave him a nice evaluation, and we were able to close the deal.
Great. So I think without further ado, let's show them off. It's really wild, Lou. Like I said, it's a high concentration of stars for not a very big collection of cards.
Yeah. Lou, you want to switch over?
There we go.
Great. So get this out of the way. All right. I think I'm going to do them like this. Is that good, Lou?
Yes.
All right. Without further ado.
Love the new look, by the way, too.
Yeah, no, this is great.
Saw that the other night, yeah.
Gilmore and team have been implementing a number of upgrades and changes. Koufax rookie. Second year Yaz.
Yep.
We're going to talk about some of these Jackies in a minute. Jackie, how you doing? Oh, hello.
Hello.
Yep. You don't like Jackie? Goes back to Mantle.
Oh, God.
Another Mantle. And another Mantle. But wait, there is another Mantle. Another Maze, but another Mantle. So it's funny because Chris Coe probably looks at like, wait, Leighton, you just traded me for a 66 Mantle that's dead nut centered. Why do you need another one? Because I love baseball cards.
That's right. Because there's no such thing as extra mantles.
Exactly. 66 Mantle. Wait a minute. He's got 3. Of course he does. Why not? 66 rows. I'm saying, like, I wish every 8 to 10 or 12-year-old back then was doing this.
Can you imagine?
Unbelievable collection and I mean, J5, there's not more than 100 cards, right?
It's like 65.
65 cards. And of course, these are the highlights, but there's really no commons. So, like, the other cards are like Rishi Ashburn or, Spani. I mean, that's like the worst card in the first stack, the 56 Larson. And there you go, 54 Ashburn. So kind of a cool collection, true childhood collection, and pretty reasonable shape for, someone that was probably handling them pretty heavily back then. All right, Chris, I'm going to try to pick out. You want to pick out the nicest one?
Yeah, pick out the nicest one.
All right, well, it's definitely not that one. So it's probably this one. Now, Chris, you want me to say what it would grade?
Yeah, what we're going to do, have you pick out a grade.
Okay.
Then have me pick out a grade.
What if it's the same grade?
Well, we obviously have to come to some agreement that we won't pick the same grade.
All right, well, I'm going to pick the right grade then.
So do we bring Chris in at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Right. We're going to bring Chris in. Whoa. Yeah, he's right there.
That's right.
So this is Chris's idea. He wants me to pick one of the Jackie Robinsons that we just acquired from the collection and basically pick out what I think it would grade. So this 56 Topps Jackie, I think, is the best of the four, although one of the other ones may grade the same as this. This looks to me to be the sharpest. And based on what I can tell, and now, to be clear here, I'm not under the lights, but it looks like a 4 to me. And the main reason why it looks like a 4, it does have a little bit of corner wear, a little bit of accelerated rounding, and then I think in the lower, it was the lower left right here, there's like a little bit of a corner crease. And so that tends to be, a card that would grade more of a 4 than a 5. So I think this card is going to grade a PSA 4 or an SGC 4.
So you're saying a 4. That's your call.
Huh?
I took a look at that card earlier.
Huh?
I think it's a 3.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go.
So we'll put up a high-risk scan on the Facebook group.
And we'll vote.
Yeah, and we'll let people vote.
And what happens when you're wrong?
Well, if you're right, the people that voted for you will get a $10 break credit.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
If I'm right, the people that voted for me will get a $10.
I was going to say you should get barbecue.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of barbecue to cook. But they'll get
it's a lot of break credit to give out.
If I'm right. Well, I mean.
You should have to sacrifice, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you take it on my paycheck.
Yeah. It's all good. But anyway, we're real proud to acquire this collection. Look for the story coming soon from Monty and gang at our blog at blog.justcollect.com.
Gorgeous.
Maybe we'll even give away one of the
Echo down there.
I'm sorry?
I'm asking Chris. Chris, are you muted because of echo down there?
Yeah, I'm muted because of echo.
All right. Yeah.
All right, very cool.
I'm close enough to Leighton's mic that
I believe it. Yeah.
Great. So we're going to talk to Gilmore in just a minute about a couple things. But before we do, I wanted to maybe we'll do a poll, I guess, not during the show, Lou, but afterwards on social media. But we're down to either a Friday or the Friday of the National or the Saturday of the National that we're going to be doing a Vintage Breaks party. And what we'd like to do is to pick a date, meaning the Saturday or the Friday, as well as to try to start getting people to RSVP for it so we can understand how many people are going to be coming so we can figure out the right facility to hold it in. So just let me know in the chat what you're thinking. If you're going to be at the National, if you have a preference on hanging out on Friday night or Saturday night, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Dude, just like mantle cards, you can never have enough Gilmore.
I agree. Yeah.
All right, Gilmore. So you've been up here now a few days. Tell me, the 2 or 3 things you've seen that you're envious of for Vintage Breaks that you wish you had down in the South. And then maybe 1 or 2 things you're like, wow, I'm glad I'm able to break by myself down there because, for example, I like to eat really smelly Brussels sprouts. And maybe not everyone would really like those. I don't know.
Well, like, the things I'm envious of is just the sheer amount of 2019 and 2018 premium products. That shelf over there has Vlad rookies just falling out of it, and I wish I had it. You know?
Well, we can work something out.
Yeah.
Have my people talk to your people.
Well, I mean, that's why I brought a big suitcase. It was originally to try to smuggle Dougie back down south,
but you decide it's not going to fit.
No, not a fit, but Vlad cards will.
Yeah, I think they will.
With me being the modern breaker, that's like that's gold to me. And that 2016 vending box is man, that's a great product.
Okay, so your first sorry, I had to take care of something on my phone. So your first thing that you're voting for is product.
Oh yeah, that's the main thing you're jealous of. This is a mecca of sealed product here.
There is a lot of sealed product here.
Yeah, there is.
I can confirm.
Yeah, like if it all went to the apocalypse and we got overrun by zombies tomorrow and all collectibles are totally worthless, we could have a lot of fun in here.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, get a bunch of Sixers. Yeah. I think we'd have a good old time. Get some barbecue going.
Oh yeah.
So, what's one other thing that you see up here, Chris, that you wish that you had in the South?
Oh, the Sebrix, definitely. That Steve Carlton 9, just hits you. It pops out of the car. The car pops out of the case. It's just.
So, like to basically to have it down there to show off, to talk about, to maybe even do the Sebrix.
To run the Sebrix. Sebrix are a huge part of our business.
They are.
And because of the nature of logistics, South doesn't get any of those.
Nope.
So, and that's probably not going to change. That's why I didn't mention it. So
this is very interesting. By the way, Lou, I really did put him on the spot. I'm learning some great stuff.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I'm learning to lock up everything after this meeting's over.
You better.
Yeah, take inventory. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Figure out all the blind spots in the camera here.
Yeah. Now, let's switch gears here for a minute and tell me one thing that you're happy that you're able to break. With a smaller, situation down there.
Well, I mean, the advantage we have in the South is speed. Like, product comes out, we can have it on release day, and because there's not 300 SKUs in the South, we can focus on 2020 UEFA Topps Chrome.
Sure.
We can really put a laser focus on what's happening right now in the hobby, which is something the North obviously doesn't do. Because of the wide approach.
Sure.
I like the wide approach, but it's just good to switch gears every now and then. This chair is really well broken in. Thank you.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Dom? How are you? So speaking of Dom and I just did a deal earlier today. We made a trade. He had some extra cards, was looking for some break credit, and easy peasy. So once again, folks, I'll drop my email in here. But if you ever are looking to clean up your collection a little bit, get rid of some extras, I'll certainly let you know if it's up our alley or not. We buy for cash, break credit, wampum. We trade for cards, grape Swedish fish, all sorts of different things.
Mike has a suggestion, and we got to get our second show going, Leighton, because I want to do a second show. But you said you should do a sports card show similar to Pawn Stars or Antique Roadshow. We've done a couple of these episodes on the Loft where people have joined the show and shown what they have, and talk about maybe a trade or a purchase.
Oh, I agree. I mean, we're hoping with your efforts and now Ken's efforts being on the ground here, we're going to be able to start trading card therapy before the National and have at least a few episodes, happen.
It got a name, huh? Trading card therapy. I think
that's what we voted on.
Cardboard therapy.
Excuse me.
Cardboard therapy.
Trading card therapy.
Yeah. Like that.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Cardboard therapy is cool, but the thing is that for people who are not in the know, like you actually may not know what that is. Yeah. Trading card therapy, unless you don't understand what the trading card is a little bit more clear.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it'd be really funny if you started a podcast, Ken, called Cardboard Therapy, and you literally had people out there who have I'm sure you can Google it right now. Like there's all sorts of fetishes in the world and phobias.
Beautiful perforation.
Oh my God, that cardboard really gets me crazy. Who knows?
Well, there are people who really like the sound of scissors going through construction paper. So maybe it's something weird like that.
And is that someone, rhyme with Fillmore?
No, it's not me. Not me. Fillmore.
I remember Hardcore Pawn, Jeff. Wasn't there like active fights on that show every week?
Oh, were there?
I think there were.
That show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have that. We could stage some things in here. We were talking about a Vintage Breaks Rumble in there.
The National is going to be a hoot, man, with everyone under the same roof.
Well, that's what we do. We got to get Gilmore and you on that show.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You can fight over the evaluation of the cards the guys are offering.
I'll be Chum Lee.
All right, Chris. So let's switch gears for a minute. Like I said, we're thrilled that you're up here for the week helping us out, breaking, upgrading, IT equipment, all sorts of fun stuff. What's up, Monty? So in regards to, the market itself, it's been talked about at length on social media and wherever you consume your card content. The market has softened on modern, probably even more so than it has on vintage. People are asking, if you will, how is it going to affect the National, or, basically, like, does that change your plans for the National because things are down versus where they were 6 months ago or 9 months ago? And so I'm curious because I know that, you work for us full time, but you dabble actively in cards. Certainly, I dabble actively in cards professionally for Just Collect. So I'm curious for yourself, because I know when you go to the National, you'll often target, maybe in years past, ungraded, right? Because you'll grade it, get your margin, sit on the rookies you like, flip, whatever. I'm curious, have you thought about, because the whole grading, game, if you will, has changed, or at least temporarily has changed, has it changed your mindset on how you're going to the National looking at cards?
It's made me feel safer. The correction has. The correction is actually a good thing for me as a buyer because it's a buyer's market right now. If you I don't think the term crash is accurate for what actually went down, because if you zoom out to February, cards are still way up. Nearly everything is still way up from February. Now it's not way up from 2 months ago, especially if you look at a card like the Prism Luka Doncic. It's way down. You can get one of those for $700-800 in a PSA 10 right now, whereas you couldn't dream about that previously.
Sure.
So as a buyer, it's the correction, I guess we would call it, because there were some things that were just overpriced, overvalued, makes me feel safer picking those up for the long term. And when you add on that the fact that PSA has had their issues and basically is not available to cheap cards, you're going to be able to buy better condition raw cards right now. Really, it's the best time to be buying raw cards.
Well, what does Warren Buffett say? When everyone, is fearful, then be greedy. And when everyone's greedy, be fearful.
Exactly.
So, what I'm seeing, and I agree with your sentiment, Chris. So in regards to graded, even though I have a ton of inventory, more than candidly that I would like, and of course I want it to go up, right? And I want it to be worth more every day, right? Just like a stock, or your portfolio. The reality of it is, Lou, even though I have those assets, I actually, if you will, I'm a day trader of those assets also, meaning because I buy and sell actively. And so what I would tell you is I agree with Chris wholeheartedly in regards to I wanted the market to normalize, even if it meant giving back of some of my on-paper gains for my portfolio. And the reason being is because I like to actively buy. And it's much harder to buy when things are trending up so much that you, based on your experience, know that at some point they have to pull back or at least flatten out. And so when they start to flatten out and you can see some sort of consistency with prices that you can wrap your head around, Lou, then you can feel a little more comfortable about deploying, a serious amount of, money into your inventory.
Well, some of that helium coming out of the market just becomes a sale, right? Because the market trend in general over the long term is going to be up. So you get a little extra, discount on that price now with that correction. I think that's a great word for it. And that adds to your profits going forward.
Very much so. And then in regards to raw, or ungraded, depending on how you talk about cards that are not graded, there is no doubt that right now, for example, and I've known this from dealers. I know dealers who flipped out inventory because they know that the next time they'll be able to grade bulk PSA will be between 6 months and 2 years. And I'm not saying about when they'll get it back, meaning when the actual bulk cheap, way of grading is available, or the cheapest, excuse me. And so if you're willing to stockpile cards, you absolutely can do so at a substantial discount right now. But understand that plan you have may never come to fruition because PSA literally may never offer bulk grading, in the near future for a reasonable price.
In that regard, Mike asked, do you guys think the price of grading went up, which means the prices of cards go up more? Do you think will people just buy raw?
No, people will still buy graded. It's like buying raw cards on eBay is a miserable process. You never know what you're going to get. So that's why grading exists.
Does the market put a premium on the rising of prices by PSA? In other words, will the card value go up more than the rise in grading prices?
I think there's some correlation there. There's some causation there, but I don't think it's going to be too drastic. Increase in sub fees. Like people are still going to submit. People are still going to buy graded cards. With it being more difficult than ever to get cards graded, yes, you will see some price spike, but I don't think it's going to be extreme.
Friendly reminder, we got about 10 minutes left in our $100 promo that ends at 5:30. You'll also be in our $10 bonus promo that ends at 7:30. We're giving away a bunch of good stuff, including a $1,000 briefcase, 56 set spot, $100 break credit. And, of course, if you get into the 4:30 to 5:30 $100 early bird loft promo, you will have a chance to win a free spot in our newly listed epic 1965 Topps PSA 8 and higher baseball set break.
Love that Mickey Mantle.
Oh, yeah. It's one of my favorites, 65.
Yep. That Carlton's one of the nicest cards I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, it's a great card. So, Chris, one of the last questions I wanted to ask you on the loft today, and we've already kind of covered it a little bit in regards to the National, but, I know that you're a veteran of the National, certainly a veteran of the hobby. I've talked about some of my tips on here. I was curious if you can think of a tip or two that you'd like to share for either this year's National in particular, because of everything going on in the world, or just, more of a macro tip like, hey, this is good for every National. This is what you think, you'd recommend.
Get in early. Everything. Get in as soon as you can. Find a buddy, sneak in, dress up like a potted plant, and like walk your way in when the security guard's looking. You shrink down, and you're just a potted plant. No, get in early, however you can.
Put a Vintage Breaks t-shirt on and say you work for Vintage Breaks.
Right?
And go in.
Lou, I got to tell you, that might be the best, simplest idea I just heard all day. You simply put on a VB t-shirt and say, I work for VB.
Yep.
They got the 2 booths in the Case Break Pavilion. I'll be there, guys. No problem.
Find a dealer who needs help setting up. Say, hey, I will carry all your stuff.
So it's a really, all kidding aside, Chris, some of your suggestions about how to get in, or to be fair, getting in early, if you're one of those like me, like Chris, right? You're a card show, connoisseur. You love the card shows. You get excited by them. There's nothing worse than getting to the show like 4 hours later after it starts. And like I get 3 texts plus my buddy Joe's in the corner. Like, come here. I'm like, think he's got a granola bar for me or something. He's like, no, dude, you see what I bought? I'm like, when did you buy that?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, it's the first hour. I'm like,
the best deals are always first.
I don't even know if it's the best deals. I wouldn't agree with that. I think that the best stuff is there. And maybe some of it's a good deal. Maybe some of it isn't. But absolutely, if you want the pick of the litter and you want to be able to buy the best of the best, you got to remember, man, we're not the only people going to the show.
Well, and it's not just that. If you don't have a big budget, still get there early because the dollar bins are loaded.
That's a great suggestion, Lou, and a great point. So this is not just for like the swanky swank who got big budgets, right? Crisco, who's going to pay 35% more than he needs to for a 52 maze because he doesn't care. He's at the show. He's told me so.
Why not?
But all kidding aside, Lou and gang, Chris, it's a really great point.
Yeah.
You can go to the show, be on a small budget, dive into the quarter to $1 boxes, but if they're fresh, oh, very cool, Stephanie. If they're fresh, Lou, remember what I talked about. A lot of people are bringing inventory to the National that they haven't brought anywhere else. It includes people with the $1 boxes, the quarter boxes. Now understand it's all relative, but if you're the first to go through someone's really good $1 boxes, you might be pulling cards out of there that you could sell for $5 to $20.
I've got actual numbers for you.
Oh, okay.
So 2019, you remember I was running around combing these dollar bins.
Yeah.
So I spent $3,240 in dollar bins.
Okay, that's a lot of cards.
After eBay fees, my total rake was $11,000.
Wow.
Did you get every card graded or no? Some of the cards graded.
Very few cards graded.
Oh, okay.
Most of it was just cool inserts.
Oh, you literally sold it as is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's delicious.
Yeah.
Can I give you $3,250 this year? And you just do that for me? I'll split it.
I mean, if you were willing to sacrifice the time of me and food.
I'm not.
2019 I was part time.
Yeah, no, I remember.
Sometimes it's a little different.
Part time as a potted plant.
Yes.
Trying to move into the rotation full time and taking himself out of the potted plant. Yeah. Which, as you can see, he's not in the potted plant.
The year before, that tactic I just gave you of finding a dealer, 2018, I called my buddy Brian Gray at Leaf and said, "Hey, Brian, I'm at the door. Can you come get me?" He says, "Yeah, if you'll bring his stuff in with you." So
it's a good point. A lot of folks need help setting up. Ask your fellow card shop owner or local dealer if they need help. Set up at the National.
What we need to do is get Dougie to dress up like Hulk and say he's in there for signing, and Chris could be his bodyguard.
Dude, that's awesome.
Good. Everybody's in.
I like that. Just want to bring up Dom an interesting idea. You should start a service where someone gives you X amount of money and you invest it for them. So the thing is, in the industry, the hobby, there are a few funds that are out there right now. I don't know the exact, buying and such. But one of the things we talked about doing here at Vintage Breaks was basically, doing something similar that Dom is suggesting and that some of these funds are doing, but doing so where it's a lot of our community members are in on it. And so it's something that I'd like to talk about at the National with some of the folks who are part of our community, of course, our team members as well. But, that's what's great about the show. Get to talk about all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, we should do a fractional.
It's a great idea, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So Brian just asked if we need help. Yeah. What I need help is buying vintage cards at great prices. That's what I need. And
help.
Yeah. And finding all the people in the Chicago surrounding area that have collections they'd like to sell.
Oh, Gus has got a Stanley Cup picture. I like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But Brian, if you're interested, hit up Gilmore. You guys can chat and he'll let me know what's up. Can't wait to see you, Charles. It's gonna be a great show. Folks, you got about 5 minutes left in that $100 promo that ends at the end of the Loft at 5:30. You will have a chance to win a free 1965 Topps baseball set break spot. Every single card is graded by PSA 8 or higher. The single example being higher than 8 is the Steve Carlton rookie in a PSA 9.
Chris, have you got a target for the National? Anything in particular you'd like to fall into when you get there?
Well, I did, but Wander Franco got called up. So maybe something nice, Bobby Witt or Julio Rodriguez. Yeah, Bobby Witt's going to take over as the number 1 overall prospect in baseball, and Julio Rodriguez is not far behind.
Yep.
So,
Lou, I'm putting in the chat Saturday or Sunday for the VB party at the National. Wanted to get some feedback from people. Saturday or Sunday. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, because on Sunday we will not be partying. Well, we will, but by giving away a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, if you'd like to check out our new event page for our big national bonuses and promo, you can check it out. I believe it is now live at event.vintagebreaks.com. I'll just make sure. Lou, can you bring that up for us?
Yep. It's already up.
Oh, great.
Friday or Saturday for the VB party at the National.
They did a good job, J5. Looks good. Yeah.
I don't know if he's issued anywhere, but you guys, Brennan Davis of the Cubs. That's the guy. That's the guy you want to stop packing away.
I've got a lot of Brennan Davis.
Really? See, Lou, I like to hear that from the source. Because
Yeah.
I know you're not a card guy, but I know you know your baseball.
He's toolsy as hell. He's really raw, but this time next year, everyone's going to be on Brennan Davis, I think.
Got about a dozen Sapphire autos of Brennan Davis right now.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
What position does he play, Lou?
Center fielder, but he won't stick in center field. He'll end up corner outfielder, but
Okay.
He's put on a lot of muscle in this past year, so yeah.
yes, he has. He was a tall, skinny kid, but he's put on a lot of muscle since he's become a pro. Yep.
His rookie card, he literally looks like he's got Steve Urkel's body.
And Steve Urkel's swing early on when he was that thin.
Hey, do we have that Trouty? Can I show that off from last night?
Yeah,
Awesome.
That was a great card.
Sweetness.
Tyler says he'll watch this live show for hours.
Well,
Keep going.
Well, I appreciate it, Tyler. Thank you. Wow. I mean, this is just sick. I'm not going to take it out of the holder.
Lou, you want to switch?
Yep. Let's see. Switch it over. There you go.
Check this out. 1 of 1 protectors at the plate. So what do you think this was? His elbow guard?
It's his elbow guard.
1 of 1 from Topps Definitive, which is a super high-end product.
Look at that.
Gorgeous.
Smack dab on the label.
In the same box from that same subset, but autographed, is a redemption card for a Mike Piazza just like it.
Super cool.
That's a hot box.
Now, thank you, Kristen. I wanted to tease next week's episode of The Loft. Really excited to announce that our really good friend Andy Brentano, now I'm probably going to mess this up, from Oregon, has helped us buy a substantial 5-figure collection from his home state, which we've now received in our office. We've paid for in full. The check has been cashed. Oh, and Andy spent his break credit, little how you doing, thank you, already. But we might have Andy on if he's up for it to talk about the process, how it worked. And what was really interesting, Andy told me the other day, he said, Leighton, I didn't tell you this, but late in the deal, when you had basically been told that they agreed, the gentleman or the family, I think it might have been the gentleman, basically got I said this to him when we chatted on the phone. I've had grown men cry on the floor of their kitchen after shaking my hand and I've given them money because they don't want to give out the stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So he apparently was having a little bit of seller's remorse or changing his mind. And Andy said he never told me that, but I guess Andy said to the gentleman that Andy almost lost his mind because Andy had been helping this guy a lot in the family. Yeah. And needless to say, time, isn't free. And I guess was like, hey man, if you don't want to do this deal, no problem. Like I'm done after this, but we'll let Andy talk about it all in his own words. Hopefully next week on The Loft, you can join us, Andy.
Sounds like a great story. I love it.
Oh, it was unbelievable. I mean, there was an incredible amount of stuff, unopened cases, boxes, a Jordan rookie. I mean, wild.
A little down the road, I'm working on Michael K for you.
Oh, that would be huge.
Yeah.
Hey, I can get if I don't know if it's good or bad. You have to let me know, but I can get Pete Rosenberg to help because I hooked him up with some wrestling cards. At the same time, I also heard Rosenberg give us a shout out on Michael K's show.
Oh, nice.
And like basically, I don't know if Kay loved that he was giving free shout outs. So, we're going to let you take the reins, Lou, until you need us.
I'm working through he's got a book out now. So.
Oh, he does. I saw that. Bobby Meacham, who was a former terrible Yankee in the 80s. I mean, just gross. And obviously,
Bobby Meacham, he wasn't great, but he wasn't terrible, was he?
Are you kidding me? No, he was, Lou, I watched every Yankee game as a kid. He was horrendous. And by horrendous, and I don't have his stats in front of me, these are his stats, Dougie. 235, 6 home runs, 31 RBIs, 4 stolen bases with 18 errors. And you're talking about an OBA that didn't break 300. So you're telling me that that's not gross?
Okay.
and they would never go to the playoffs. That's why they didn't care about replacing Bobby Meacham, because they weren't going to make the playoffs anyway. The only person worse than Bobby Meacham was Wayne Tollison. Wayne Tollison was really gross.
He was bad.
Really bad. I have a Tolley game used bat. I have no idea why, but I do.
I can't even spell Bobby Meacham. How do you spell Bobby's last name?
Meachem.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So he tagged Michael Kay on social media trying to get a signed book.
He had 8 career homers.
Wait a minute. Say that again?
He had 8 career homers.
Thank you, Lou. You just confirmed Bobby Meacham is one of the grossest Yankees from the 1980s. Doug, I was apparently exaggerating. He didn't have 6 home runs in a season. He had 8 home runs, folks, for his career.
No, he had five in a season.
He had 5.
87.
And the thing is, guys, if he was a journeyman, I wouldn't really care. He was the starting second base or shortstop for the Yankees.
Well, I mean, he was a starter in 85. 84, he played 99 games. But 86, he played 56.
He was very bad, Chris.
87, 77.
If you want me to pay for your dinner, you have to say he was very bad.
But he's got a career OPS of 621, so yes, very bad.
Great. Thank you. That's all I'm looking for.
He hit 218 and 481 at bats. So,
wait, say again, Luke?
In 85, he hit 218 in 481 at bats with 1 homer, but he stole 25 bases.
Oh.
That's just brutal.
In a season where they gave him a full season, he made 24 errors at shortstop.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's horrible. Horrible. Oh my! I just scream at the TV. My father would be yelling at me, "You're gonna break it!" I'm like, God, they gotta get rid of me. Terrible.
That's how I feel about Jackie Bradley Jr. It's exactly the same way.
So don't forget, folks, vote on the Jackie Robinson, what you think it's going to grade. And please let us know if you think that Saturday or Friday is best off for the Vintage Breaks party. If you're going to be at the National, please let us know.
Monty says, Meacham or Kevin Moss?
I would definitely keep Kevin Moss because Kevin Moss gave the Yankees what Jeremy Lin gave the Knicks. This very brief period of time.
See, there's a leak which I never would have seen coming right there.
Of absolute elation, right? Oh, Ed Whitson was disgusting. Listen, all you got to do is talk about that era of the Yankees and just say that they threw a no-hitter and Andy Hawkins lost the game. And that's it. You don't really have to talk about much more. So from Leighton's Loft, from myself, from Mr. Gilmore, or Fillmore, whatever we're going to call you moving forward. Fillmore, by the way, is a fantastic music venue, which I'm sure Lou knows a lot more about than even myself. Anyway, Lou, thanks again for joining us. It was a really fun show today. And we're going to give away the 7 prizes to start the next hour. Of course, you can tune in with Dougie Fresh, J5, and Sam from 5:30 to 9:30 tonight. We did forget to talk a little bit more about Mark and how this was his first deal that he brought in. But we'll talk more about it next week, and also how he had no choice but to get the deal because he bought an extremely offensively expensive steak for our first company dinner, and the way he ordered it and talked about it was hysterical. So I can't wait to tell the story. Also, remember to tune in. Hopefully, we'll have Annie next week on the show to talk about the big collection from Oregon. I've been trying very hard to say it correctly.
Looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And we'll start showing off some of the stuff as well. And I'll leave you with this. I don't know that I'll be collecting them, but I've been digging these because I know I'm not going to open them. There's only one card in the gum, but visually they're very appealing.
Ooh.
Topps penny packs from the 50s and 60s. This is a 1959.
That doesn't look 50s. That looks much later.
1959, Lou.
Just the graphics and stuff. They look like a few years later.
Yeah, I think I dig it. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in to Leighton's Loft. You can find us each and every Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Please like, subscribe, so that you are notified each and every time we are going live. Thanks, everybody.